Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the Village of Ruidoso regular meeting. It's April 16th, so it's a Thursday rather than Tuesday. We got a really big show for you today. Got a lot of people that donate a lot of time. We're going to recognize briefly, and then we've got some new additions. But first, if you'll stand with me, and we'll do the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I salute the flag of the state of New Mexico, the Zia symbol of perfect friendships among united cultures. All right. Thank you, everyone, for coming. If I could get a roll call, please.
Mayor Crawford.
Here.
Councilor Brophy.
Here.
Councilor Letterman.
Here.
Councilor Hooker.
Here.
Councilor Corey.
Here.
Councilor Sanchez.
Here.
You have a quorum.
Okay, thank you. And if you notice, we had some new names. We want to welcome Adam's usually in the very back corner over there. I don't see him over there, so he's over here. Welcome, Councilor Sanchez.
Thank you, Mayor.
And then we got Barrington Brophy over here.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. We're glad to have you guys here. And Rifle's out today. But anyway, we've got a lot of good things started. So if I can get a motion for the approval of today's agenda, please.
Mr. Mayor, I move to approve the agenda and give the chair the ability to move things around as seen fit.
Second.
Okay, any discussion? Roll call, please, ma'am.
Councilor Hooker.
Aye.
Councilor Letterman.
Aye.
Councilor Brophy.
Aye.
Councilor Corey.
Aye.
Councilor Sanchez.
Okay, and we will have to go into closed session here in just a little bit on a pertinent matter that we have a time limit on, so probably around 3 o'clock, we'll take a break. One of the things I want to do first is go through the organizational structure. This is something that we do after an election, and so I'm happy to put up Rifle Salas as the possible mayor pro tem, so I'd like a motion to recognize
Mr.
Rifle
Mayor,
Salas.
I make a motion to have Rifle Salas be the mayor pro tem.
Second.
Is that somebody on the, Marty, I think you're live, buddy. And do we have a second?
Yes.
Okay.
Adam.
Adam did. Okay, roll call, please, ma'am.
Councilor Hooker.
Aye.
Councilor Sanchez.
Aye.
Councilor Corey.
Aye.
Councilor Letterman.
Aye.
Councilor Brophy.
Aye.
And so I forgot, we're going to recognize the village manager. Do we have to swear you in anything or just recognize you? Okay. So we're going to go ahead and make a motion to confirm the appointed officials, the village clerk, village manager, Ron Senna. Village clerk will be Yvonne over here. The chief of police, Steve Menner. There he is in the back. Oh, y'all don't have to clap for him yet. He hasn't been confirmed.
Brother.
We hadn't voted yet.
Real close, I'm telling you. And also the emergency manager, do we see him?
No, he's.
Okay, Eric, he was out working earlier. I saw him doing some inspection. And then Judy, the treasurer.
Mayor,
Hi, Judy.
I move approval of the appointed officials as read.
Second.
Any final discussion? Okay, roll call, please, ma'am.
Councilor Corey.
Aye.
Councilor Hooker.
Aye.
Councilor Sanchez.
Aye.
Councilor Letterman.
Aye.
Councilor Brophy.
Aye.
All right, thank you, everybody.
Now we can clap.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was close, Chief. So as you know, that automatic picture ticket camera system has got you real close. Okay, now we're going to move into, we have a whole list of different committees. We have about 16 different ones. So what I'm going to do is just read off all the names one after the other. And then if we can have a motion to accept and move on. And if there's any questions, we'll address those during the discussion period. So for the cemetery board, Rifle Salas, Mary Austin, Dustin McEwen, John Crunk, Marissa Good. Lodgers Tax Committee, Bradshaw Lambert. And if you're here, raise your hand. I'm sorry. Melissa in the back, and then Bradshaw Lambert in the back on Lodgers Tax. And then we'll have Robert Duncan, Jamie, and that's J with a me behind it, Rupley. Thank you, Jamie. Drew Batka. I don't see Drew. Cecily Hooker. Parks and Recreation Committee, Eddie Gutierrez. I don't see Eddie. Trevor Rayburn, Corey Johnston, Cindy Carey, and T-Bone, otherwise known as David Tetrall. The KRB, Keep Ruidosa Beautiful Committee, Susan Lutterman, Lisa Corley, Sam Pirelli, saw him yesterday, he's looking real good. Karen Joyce, and Kelly Hall.
Pam Jenkins.
Pam.
Did I say Pam Jenkins? No. Missed it. Pam Jenkins, thank you. Workforce Housing Advisory Board, James Russ, Nathan Thomas, Clayton Allred, Cecile Kennan, Drew Botka, Charles Meeks, and Deborah Dowds. Library Board, Sarah Ames Brown, Julianne Lamb, Leroy Smith, Marissa Gutierrez, Jeff Frawley, Karen Kimmel, and Brenda Garcia. Planning Commission, Joseph Eby, Jacob Rigsby, Ron Michelina, Bart Byers, Rick Baugh, Scarlett Kelly, and William Hall. Attaboy, Bill. The Internal Finance Committee, Greg Corey, Adam Sanchez, Richie Hood, and George Williford. Utilities Committee, Adam Sanchez, Everett Brophy, Ronald Senna, Levi Beatty, and then we still have one member at large that will be filling it hopefully next meeting. Upper Canyon Historical District Committee, John Houghton, Mike Buchter, Josie Powell, Glenn Chang, Robert Duncan, and Bradshaw Lambert. Natural and Cultural History Committee, Susan Lutterman, Elizabeth Potter, Monty Coe, Lynn Kidder, Erica Ramos. Personnel Committee, Susan Lutterman and Greg Corey. Consolidated Dispatch Joint Board, Susan Lutterman, Stephen Minner, Eric Queller, Cade Hall, and Austin Miley is the alternative. The Ruidosa Wastewater Plant, known as the Joint Use Board, myself, Lynn Crawford, Darren Hooker, Rafael Salas, and Adam Sanchez will be the alternate. RSVP Council, Advisory Council, Shirley Collinsworth, Alan McGee, Sherry Hooten Soul, Steve Kokenauer, Lynn Lopez, Soya Garcia, Shirley Donaldson, Kim McGee, Wendy Buck, and Roger Buck. And they're doing a dissolution of this at the end of the fiscal year 2026. A lot of it has to do with some of the budget cuts from the federal government. But they're still going to be volunteering. It just won't be an official committee. Southeast Regional Transportation Planning Organization, SERPTO, Levi Beatty, and then the alternate is Joshua Long. Southeastern New Mexico Economic Development District, SMED, COG, the otherwise known as Council of Governments, Rafael Salas, and Levi Beatty is the alternate. Watershed Advisory Committee, Susan Lutterman, Ronald Senna, Matthew Baird, Dick Cook, Jacqueline Pena, and Bianca Vega. And then the Community Director Development will be on there too, but that position's still vacant. Green Tree Solid Waste Committee, Rafael Salas, and Jerry Parsons is the alternate. So we want to thank all those people. That's all freebies. They show up, give their time for that. And so there's a lot of additional things that happen that we get information that comes into the council. So with the help of all these people that we have, we know that we're getting a good touch around the community on people that are bought into the community and have a vested interest. Move on to discussion and possible action on adoption of resolution 2026-19.
Do we need a
we need to make a
motion?
Oh, yeah, we do. Yeah, we do that. I didn't read all those names for nothing.
Mr. Mayor, I'll make a motion that we approve the names as read for the boards.
I'll second.
Second, any discussion? Roll call, please, ma'am.
Counselor Hooker?
Aye.
Counselor Brophy?
Aye.
Counselor Letterman?
Aye.
Counselor Corey?
Aye.
Counselor Sanchez?
Number 4, discussion and possible action on adoption of Resolution 2026-19, a resolution adopting rules of procedure for the Village of Ruidoso governing body.
Yes, Mayor Crawford, members of the council, this is a resolution, this was new in Chapter 3, the municipal code, that we adopt rules of procedure at our organizational meeting starting this year. So these are rules I put together. Mayor Crawford looked through them. It talks about parliamentary procedure, decorum, emergency meetings, general procedures. There's a whole lot of information in there, motions, types of motions you can make. And I'll stand for any questions.
Anybody have any questions? This is just standard, we operate off of not a hard and fast Robert's Rules of Organization, but we do stick with that pretty much. And we've adopted in some other measures on public input and time limits and things of that nature that we've extended. So they're all pretty much spelled out. I'll entertain a motion.
Make a motion that we approve Resolution 2026-19, a resolution adopting rules of procedure for the Village of Ruidoso governing body.
Second.
Any other discussion? Roll call, please, ma'am.
Counselor Hooker?
Aye.
Counselor Letterman?
Aye.
Counselor Brophy?
Aye.
Counselor Corey?
Aye.
Counselor Sanchez?
Okay, thank you very much. Consent regular items. Number 1, approval of governing body minutes. March 10th, 2026 regular meeting. March 24th, 2026 special meeting. April 7th, 2026 workshop meeting. And I'll entertain a motion.
There's two more.
Oh, these are consent, yeah. Item number 2, approval of certificate of destruction, item number 2026-002. Number 3 is approval of award of RFP number 2026-07P to Q Structures LLC for property assessment consultant services.
Mayor, I move that we approve the consent items as read.
Second.
Second, any discussion? Roll call.
Counselor Letterman?
Aye.
Counselor Corey?
Aye.
Counselor Sanchez?
Aye.
Counselor Hooker?
Aye.
Counselor Brophy?
Aye.
All right, thank you. Now we'll move into public input. It's limited to the first hour of the meeting. You get, is it 5 minutes? Does anybody want to be the timekeeper since he's out of here?
I'll do it.
All right, first up, Bill Hall.
Good afternoon.
No?
Make sure that's on. Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can hear you.
Good. First off, I thought, as I said, we got 2 new council members here, and I wanted to reiterate something I've talked about. Some of you have heard it before. It's about communication. And one of the challenges we face in the village since the fires and the floods, and I know I've talked a little bit to Adam about this, is there's a huge, huge difference between obligated funds and when they're actually spent. And one of the things I think we really need to improve upon is a better mechanism for people to understand that. The best mechanism certainly is Monday with the mayors. I mean, you get a lot of information there. Ron's real good about sharing stuff, but not everybody's going to do that. And unfortunately, you've got to look at it like you're communicating with a 4th grader. I mean, most of you all have dealt with state legislatures. That's what you're dealing with. They don't see what you see every day. And I think if we could take something like the Insider and maybe once a quarter, update everything. Start from 2024 and say, hey, we got X million dollars here. This is where it's been spent, or this is where it hasn't been spent. Look at it like forensic accounting. We don't want to become the high-speed rail train to nowhere like California. You look at what they spent there, $125 billion, and they got nothing. We're not at that level or scale, but there's always that challenge of people need to have an easy way to do that. And as I said, not everyone's going to listen to Monday with the Mayor, but if we had it in the Insider or had it on a link on the website, that's a whole different topic. That would be something that we should do it because we know we've got a 10-year battle ahead of us fixing stuff. And people's memories are going to get shorter. And while we can keep that focus there of, hey, this is what we've spent. We've not wasted your money. You know, if you watch any of the news, that's one thing that's out there now. You know, all the fraud investigations from Minnesota to California to Florida. Let's not get caught in that trap. Let's be proactive. Because I know roughly what's been there, but it's even hard for me to follow it. But that's that. The other thing I was going to bring to your attention is just something where the state and the county is looking at water security planning for the county. And if you look at the document that's out there for the state, this is a state-driven thing about basically, well, now I have to get the specs on.
2 minutes, Bill.
2 minutes, thanks. It's really about regional water security planning, and they have an advisory council, and they have the opportunity to look at breaking it into smaller districts than are here. Right now, our watershed is basically a subset of the Pecos Council. We probably need to look at getting the ability to have a sub-council so we could deal with our water security and not be subject to an area that's, 1/4 of the state. Because each of these regions will be looked at a little differently from the state for water security. It's just something that's upcoming, so that's it. I yield the rest of my time.
Thanks, Bill.
Okay,
Thanks,
thanks,
Bill.
Bill. Jolie Foster?
She's on this number 4, the easement thing.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Okay, no problem. All right, then we'll move on, because I know we got some high-paid folks in here. I want to hurry and get them back to work. Michael. Under mail reports, we'll do an update, New Mexico Department of Transportation District 2 projects. Michael Smelker, if you'll come on up. Make sure that is green. Assistant Director, Engineer for Construction. And do you have Kenneth with you? No, he's not. Okay, he chickened out. That will remind him of that. But Michael's been working with us a lot on multiple projects. So thanks for being here today.
Well, welcome, guys. Thank you for having me. I'll let her pull this up real quick. And I just created a quick D2 presentation for today on our projects and where we're at with projects within this community. No problem. So just to introduce myself, my name is Michael Smelker. I'm actually the ADE of construction for District 2. So I've been handling all of the District 2 construction projects and has been involved in this area. So a couple of the projects that I'm going to talk to you guys about. I'll talk to you about some that we have currently under construction that we just started. We have a couple that we're currently in design process, and I'll kind of give you a little bit of an update on some of our maintenance activities. So the first project I want to talk to you about, we have started the project on New Mexico 532. This was during the flooding, and prior to the flooding, we had some between milepost 2.25 and 2.80. That's just before the Eagle Creek campground. We had a bunch of gabion baskets there around that curve, and there's two culverts there, and we're going ahead and replacing those with boxes. So we're replacing all the gabion. So we went in there after the floods to keep the road in place, to make sure it didn't wash out. We went ahead and did some maintenance repairs to maintain it till we were able to put a permanent fixture in. So we're actually taking the gabion baskets out, or what we had done during that flood time, and we're replacing them with some type of concrete retaining walls. We're actually widening that section of the roadway a little bit, and then we're replacing the culverts because they keep getting plugged on us due to all the debris from the fires, and we're replacing those with, I think, 10x8 boxes. We have started this project. Our goal is to have the boxes that are supposed to be delivered sometime the 1st of May, and within the next couple of weeks, and they'll start removing that. We are going to be keeping one lane of traffic open during construction, so 532 will remain open during construction of that project. And this is about a $4.5 million project. So our goal is to get these boxes and all these improvements prior to June. We should be finished in June, July. We're trying to make sure we get it done before we have any more monsoon seasons. So that's what we're doing on the Mexico 532.
And for those, that's Ski Run Road.
Ski Run Road.
And there's a lot of watershed through there. A lot of the villages, water rights are in that watershed.
Oh, is it?
Mm-hmm.
We do.
Yeah, so we'll have that all up and down. So we are starting to work on that, so you'll be seeing activity in there.
Where did the funds come from?
That's,
DOT.
Those are actually we actually got protect funds. So the department has a separate category right now of protect funds that we were able to get those. We actually had this project funded prior to the fires and the floods. So we already had this project going to replace those gabions. And so protect funds allows us to go and make everything a better situation for the future.
Well, that's good.
Yeah, so we got those funds for that. The next one that we just started here that you guys might see the barrels up on is we had a project going on with the village of Ruidoso Downs. So between milepost 260 and 263.5 Ruidoso Downs, there's a segment there, basically kind of between Walmart and the village of Ruidoso Downs, that there's only one segment there that didn't have sidewalks. So they asked us to go ahead and make that a continuous segment. When we were doing that, we were actually already under design for that one too, and we started that project. Then the flooding happened on US 70. We got a lot of sidewalks due to the flooding condition and stuff on 70 that got uplifted to the storms, got undercut because of the storms. So we went ahead and added all that reconstruction to go ahead and update all the sidewalks on US 70 that got affected by the floods. So instead of having our maintenance guys go in there and do this, we were able to go ahead and add additional funding to that project too. So we're updating all those sidewalks and stuff, so that people have ADA access throughout the community of
Over by Bells and that whole
yeah.
area.
Yeah, so that's going on too right now, those two projects right now. So that's about $2.7 million. We anticipate that one probably to be done in June, July timeframe too also. The big one that's coming up, and this is our design project that we're working on right now. That's New Mexico 48 in Brady Canyon. Right now, we're at 90% design. We're in the process of doing right-of-way acquisition and utility coordination. We've been working with your guys' staff on the utility coordination, and you guys will probably be getting an agreement with us here at your next council meeting, I think in May. So that we can go ahead and install the water lines as part of our construction project. So that'll be coming up at your next meeting or in May.
Mayor,
Yes, sir.
question. What will become of that area ultimately?
Of the parcels that we're acquiring.
Yes, sir.
So our goal is after we construct our project, we can't do anything till after we construct our project. So after we construct our project, we would like to come back to the village, and we'd actually like to turn that open area over to you guys, so you guys can maintain it as an open
And
area.
this is the Adobe Plaza property?
Yeah,
So
Adobe property, and it's the other.
All the way,
property, cabins were,
So that's potentially green space?
yes, yeah.
And so what you're talking about doing is digging underneath. You're not gonna cut the highway. You're gonna go underneath it and put 8 by 12 or what?
Yeah, so we're gonna open cut the.
Oh, you are gonna cut the
Yes,
road?
Yeah, we have to. So there's existing 240, there's, I think CMP, 48-inch pipes, there are 60-inch pipes existing. We're gonna go back with a 10 by 8 box. That way we're able to clean it out, because all the debris gets in there and plugs it, and then it's overtopping. Basically, that channel narrows down, Brady Canyon narrows down, and the biggest size of box we can put in there is 10 by 8. So we're going to do that in 2 phases. We're actually extended the box out into the Adobe Deli parcel further. That'll be the first phase that we build. That we're gonna shift the traffic, we'll build that first on the outlet side. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna build that so we're allowed to keep one lane of traffic each direction open throughout. So we'll put it on the new box, and then we'll extend the box to the, towards the Brady Canyon on the inlet side. So we'll do it in 2 phases, and we'll flip that traffic, so it will be open cut to go ahead and install those boxes.
And that's where they're talking about putting the water line on top of the box.
Yeah, so the water line will go on top of the box, and then you guys, the city's also redesigning the sewer line, and they'll be going down below underneath our outlet location for the sewer line, because the box is a lot taller and bigger than the pipes, so the existing utility line's going right through the middle of our box that we're proposing.
Will that line be replaced?
The sewer line's gonna be replaced through a city project, and you guys are doing a lift station right there right now.
Yeah,
So
behind
it's
the
gonna go
Allsups.
ahead- So they're designing that to go ahead and.
Be
we're
two lift
coordinating with
stations
that.
there.
So if the sewage line is underneath the culverts,
It'll be in front of it
Well,
down.
actually, they're relocating it, so the city's gonna relocate it.
Oh,
So
okay.
it'll actually be on the outlet side.
Yeah.
Basically where it'll be outside of the street roadway now, and then it's gonna connect to your new proposed lift station.
okay.
So that work will be done when you guys do your lift station project, prior to our project.
And the water line will be on top, so that'll
And-
be easy to,
And it'll be done as part of our construction. So
Right.
we'll have our contractor do that work for you guys at the time we put the box in.
Oh, okay.
And then the sanitary sewer line will be replaced prior to, so then we won't have any conflicts of utilities in that area. So that's what we're looking at doing there, keeping 2 lanes of traffic open. Our goal is to let this in September, so we're gonna go to production in June or July, and the project will let in September. Construction-wise, what we're planning on doing construction-wise, these are going to be precast boxes. So we're anticipating the construction will start after the holidays. I think that'll probably work best for the community. So we'll probably do it after, probably starting February, March timeframe. And then our goal is to have that entire thing completed, again, prior to our
Memorial Day.
Memorial Day.
yeah.
That would be our goal.
So you think it'll be that long out, 2 months?
I think it'll be at least 2 months, because
Especially with the
well,
weather.
I don't know if the roadway will be totally out for that whole timeframe, but, to do all of the riprap, all the in sections and all that stuff work, yes, it's gonna take us, that long to do the work.
Okay.
Yeah, but to install the boxes itself, they'll go pretty quick. I mean, they'll just install those within 2 or 3 weeks, I'm sure, time frame, and then getting everything done and repaved and all that stuff. So, yeah, we're talking, I'm sure, because we're gonna have to do it in 2 phases.
And how does that run into the river at that point? Once you put the boxes,
So we're taking the box underneath, and then we're having a channel that's going to be lined with these concrete embankments. So it's all gonna be inlined and drops off and curves into.
so it'll be concrete, not,
It's not necessary, it's concrete blocks. So
Okay.
it's a nice, pretty concrete, revetment blocks that we would put in there, so we don't get that erosion going into it.
okay?
We're also upgrading the city has a road that goes down along there, and that's part of our project. So we're taking that down and putting a cul-de-sac on the bottom so people can turn around and go back out. So that's part of the project also.
Okay.
The water will be, I'm sorry. can I
Go ahead.
just-
No, you go
Okay,
ahead.
Thank you. So on the outlet side, going towards the river, you guys, when you're building this embankment, it'll actually be curving to go directional with the river rather than just straight into that complex across the riverway?
Yes,
Thank you.
that's what we're working on.
How will that impact the RV park that's there?
Actually, the existing roadway is kind of shifted within the property of the RV park and not. So we're actually shifting the roadway back into the original right-of-way line. So it will, it's not gonna really, the roadway will still be there, but the RV park will be adjacent. So
Okay.
we'll work with the property owner there to keep him access during construction.
Okay? All right.
That's what we're doing on that one. And so a couple other things that we're working on kind of behind the scenes right now. We don't actually have projects. The US 7048, I know the village and everybody else is working on drainage design. We're working actually with the city right now. We have a consultant on board right now that's helping us determine what we can do along US 70 to do drainage improvements along US 70. I know the city got a grant or an agreement with the DOT to do the New Mexico 48 US 70 intersection. So we're working on trying to figure out how you guys can do your 4870 intersection project along with what we need to do for the drainage, so we can all bring this all together. So once that project moves forward, the drainage is also being looked at on how we're going.
On
to-
the high tee?
What improvements we
Yeah.
can do.
And so that's just in the design stage now, Ron?
Yes, sir, Mayor and
That's
council.
working with them on that?
Bohannon Houston, our on-call engineer on that project, and I know we're going to have a meeting next week on that, so.
Yeah, so before you guys move forward with your high T, we gotta figure out what we want, what improvements we want to address at the intersection of 48 and 70 for drainage. So we're not building the high T, and then we'll come back later to try to figure out what we're doing
Sure.
with drainage. So due to the flooding, that's kind of where we're at, and we're working with you guys on that project, just to let you guys know.
And Mike, also on that project, we're extending it out through the corridor all the way to Muscatine Trail, where the Allsups is at. That's going to include all of that, so.
Yeah, so that'll improve the area where the hospital is all the way to, Allsups, right?
Yes, and I think we want to make a traditional four-way, whatever we need to do there.
Correct.
Yep.
Yeah, so that's gonna be coming forward with you guys, and we're working with you guys on that too. Funding has not been established for the
Right.
construction of that project yet, or any improvements. Also on, maintenance-wise, on, District Two maintenance guys, I know they're working, and they're gonna be scheduling to replace the culvert there on 70 at Elk Lodge. We don't have it scheduled yet, but we're gonna be working on that. We just finished a replacement of 532, a culvert that got plugged or washed out. So we just finished that. We had 532 closed about a week ago to do that. And then early part of May, we're gonna be chip sealing some of New Mexico 532.
Some of it?
Yeah, not all of it, but they're gonna chip seal a portion of it on Ski Run Road. I'm not sure exactly which mileposts are. I think they're gonna be chip sealing for about 2 weeks, is what I've been told, but I don't have the exact area, but they'll be doing that.
When do you think that'll happen?
Early part of May is what we're planning, unless it conflicts.
We just got 2 new windshields, that's great. So back to the Elks Lodge, that's Elk Lodge over on 70. That culvert is the one that's out in front?
I
Or is
think-
it the one, the way they're going, it was running behind it too, so,
I think it's the one out in front within our right of way.
okay,
It'd
right
be
there by
one
the
within our
highway,
DOT right of way.
okay.
Yeah, so they're looking at upgrading that at this time. But I don't know exactly their schedule. They don't have it scheduled at this time.
Okay.
It's on our schedule to do that work. So that's what kind of maintenance is doing in this area.
I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
Michael, say the sidewalks on Meacham, you know, how they're buckling. Is that something that we can look at? Because we look for places for people to walk, for bicycle, and there's some places that are really rough around Pioneer Bank, and, they're all buckling. And to me, that would be a
we
really
can-
dangerous thing for people to trip, or for bicycles to really be a danger.
Yeah, we can take a look at that. If
I
you guys have
appreciate
areas,
it.
I
Thank
think
you.
the city can get with our guys, our maintenance guys. There's a couple ways we'd do it. Our maintenance guys kind of get overswamped with everything that's been happening lately.
Absolutely.
But we can also look at future projects to go in there and fix a bunch of those things.
Appreciate it.
Okay,
You guys have any other questions for me? That's what we're working on right now. It's kind of a quick update on projects and stuff, but we can always get further details with you guys if you guys need
It's
it.
good news.
Yeah.
Yeah. it
Thank
is.
you.
and I appreciate all the work that you did, after all the floods and different engineering, we tried to make work at the track and a lot of the areas around town, so.
Yeah.
All right, well, thanks for being here.
Yeah, thank
And so when are we gonna get to meet the new secretary, Quintana?
I don't know, we can ask him to come down.
Yeah, we will, we certainly will.
We'll have to have some type of meeting down here to get him down here.
Yeah. Okay, all right.
One thing else I wanted to say, I think on US 70, I know we talked about the drainage and stuff, but I went to the NRCS and what Lincoln County's doing, what you guys are doing. I think a lot of those planning things have to be done before we can really do much on US 70. We need to have a full-blown picture of working as a team and together to come up with these solutions like you guys are already doing. And it's actually pretty impressive yesterday listening to them and what you guys are doing. But all these different steps for the community have to take place.
Well, and we've been trying to get that 25,000-foot view of a map, topos, to find out what's being done on forestry, tribal,
Yes.
what we're doing and how it ties in. And we haven't been able to get everybody tied together on time when these things are actually going to happen.
Correct, and that's where we're at with
Yeah.
US 70, just to let everybody know on the drainage part.
Okay, down at the Y there, that's the
At the
part.
Y and even, we're looking at going up 70 somehow. See, our goal is how do you capture water prior to where we're capturing it now? Is there a way, is there not a way? But a lot of it comes up into all these other scenarios. And
Yeah, because there was talk, as it comes down to have the underground million-gallon storage, that goes on. But have you been privy to any of the work that Tribe's done up in?
No, we have not.
You haven't been yet? Okay, we need to get that to you to show, because they have done some big detention ponds and things back in that Salt Creek area, cow camp and whatnot.
Sounds good. Well, thank you, guys.
All right, thank you, Michael.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much.
Appreciate it. All right, Mike Morse, you ready? Aaron Morse, come on up. Kinetic,
Sir, thank you for having me.
the Windstream, Kinetic, Unity, you'll have to explain.
No more Windstream.
No more
I've
Windstream.
spent the last week removing anything Windstream from our offices.
Okay.
We are
So-
no longer.
Under Hook and Bull with Kinetic, it's got your picture for this area.
That's right.
Okay, that's what we get. It's good to have you.
Thank you very much. I appreciate all of you having me. And while I'm new to the council, Johnny Montoya used to, of course, come, and he wanted me to send a message that he may be back soon.
Oh, okay, good.
We've changed our model on how we do government affairs, and so Johnny is working with the company at a possible contract level, so we may be seeing him here again soon, so.
So we don't talk bad about him then yet?
You
No,
can
not
talk, you
yet.
can talk bad about him.
Hold off on
We
Montoya.
talk bad about him all the time, even though we love the guy.
Curious. All right,
He's
all right.
great. So, well, I'm not gonna tie you guys up too much. I just want to give a quick update. I think Johnny's already told you, the build's complete. We did have a lot of cleanup to do, some road work to do, repair work on the roads. That is now all complete. The cabins, we got those, complete, so,
Cabins?
or,
Behind the-
what do you call them?
603, all right, they
You're calling
finished.
those cabins? We've only been working, they're only a year behind schedule.
I'm going for
Oh, those over
drawings,
there.
so.
Yeah.
603 Meacham, gotcha.
There you go, 603 Meacham. And one of the other good things on the way that we did the build was the MDUs. I guess there's a few MDUs are going in. One's actively being built now. Very happy that the way we did it was we put large enough fiber. We do not have to go, we were able to just, it's already there. So we're working with those folks right now. I do want to introduce real quick, Brian Tackett. He is my buried drop construction manager. He is here. Riadoso is a different animal for us because rock.
Yes,
and
sir.
Guys working on inclines and things like that. So I brought Brian with me. He's out of Broken Arrow, Oklahoma, and brought him with me to let him see, number one, what his employees are having to do, but also to work on figuring out some solutions for some things that are out there, such as your next door neighbor and you in a way, because it's running close to your
Across my
property.
yard, but that's
Yeah.
fine.
So, well, at least we got into the culvert now.
Yeah, that's true, you do have it.
But, and good news is we've come up with some, and I won't bring it up here, I'll get with you later and let you know what's going on with that. But other than that, I mean, really, the build, we did have some work to do from the fires in, I believe it was in Upper Canyon. We had to rebuild some of the stuff that we had already built. All of those are done now, with the exception of some that the houses, I guess they're not there anymore. So, those, if something comes up, we'll easily be able to put fiber out there. But, there were a few that, we didn't rebuild just yet, so.
Mayor,
Yes, sir.
a couple of questions.
Absolutely.
Aaron, you indicate that you guys are done, but I think as recently as 2 weeks ago, there was trenching equipment in the neighborhood Counselor Hooker and I live in.
If I can get that information, I
It's
can
White
get-
Mountain Meadows.
Okay. Yeah, I will take that. There shouldn't be any more, we don't have any more placement crews here. We have some what are called BAU crews. that what they're doing is they're doing, during some testing, we found some of the fiber that we placed, whenever customers ordered service, the fiber was not giving a good light level, and so we've had to go back and replace
Well,
it.
that segues into my second question. I've experienced outages. A number of our citizens have told me they've had outages, and perhaps I was naive. I thought with fiber, we weren't going to have outages. What causes the outages?
Well, so the only outages that I'm familiar with, I did quiz my network manager, Donald, who's actually located in New Mexico, after a conversation with both Ron and Mayor Crawford. We did have a situation where we had thermal runaway in our backup battery plant that was here. It was over on, it's actually in the Downs where the issue occurred, but it impacted the village as well. So we had some of that. We did have quite a few damaged fibers where the fibers were severed. But other than that, I wasn't aware of any large-scale outages, other than we did have a situation that occurred with Lumen, which actually impacted, I think, the 911 center as well. So we did have that as well. But I think now what we found in several of the situations that we went on, a lot of it was actually some things that we did wrong at customers' homes or in a neighborhood that caused some of those. And we have gone back in a lot of those cases and made those right. So hopefully we won't see that. I will tell you this, Mayor Crawford and Ron, they have my number. You guys can call me anytime you want.
Okay,
We
thank
do.
you.
And I'll tell you this,
He's been great.
my boss, which is a president with the company, he's actually mentioned to me the other day, I think we're gonna have to get you a apartment there in Rio Doso. Because I'm here all the time now, so, which I love coming here, so.
Good.
But yeah, you don't ever hesitate. You can reach me anytime you want, and I've got a lot of staff here to help figure out what's going on and fix the problem.
Can we talk a little bit about the redundancy position? You know, that was one of the things when we looked into this, that if we have a fiber cut in Las Cruces, that we're not down.
Right. Yeah, so there is a redundant path here, but it's not what you would call true path redundancy. But there are some projects right now that we're working on that would offer that. And what I'm hoping to do is here in probably a couple of months, be able to come back with some good details on what that looks like. I know that right now we do have one path that we're working on that's with Lumen. It's what's called an IRU path that we share. So it gives them some diversity, gives us some diversity.
Now, Lumen used to be level 4.
Level 3 and.
Level 3.
That's one-time CenturyLink.
CenturyLink, and so they've purchased all that, and that's where some of the issue came out with equipment, Lumen.
Yes.
Okay.
Yep. So, but I think here in a couple of months, I'll be able to give, I can come back, whether it's just give you and Ron or anybody a better look at what that will look like on the diversity path. But we do have diversity, but there still are some things that could impact us, so.
Okay.
But I think biggest part of it, though, from talking to a lot of people that I've talked to, most of it was just, they were things in neighborhoods, things with what are some of our distribution hubs that we've been able to clean up and make better.
Good question.
Mr. Mayor, are y'all laying fiber going down the hill towards Carrizozo on the highway there? Because they've been trenching down through there, and I didn't know if that was y'all going that way or not.
I will have to find out.
That's just a curiosity, as in, is it moving out? Is it going further, the fiber?
Now, don't we have them at the airport, Ron? We have you at the airport now.
Well, this is even past, this is out at, past No Gals.
No, that's not us. Yeah.
Okay.
I know the construction company that's doing it, but I don't know who they're doing it for. So, now, we do have some active builds still here, even though the public-private partnership is done, there's still opportunity for us to do some other builds, and we'll continue to do those, so.
Thank you.
Okay? Anybody else? Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you,
Hey, I
sir.
Thanks,
appreciate
Aaron.
all of you very much.
Nice.
Now, next, we'll have an update from the United States Forest Service, National Fire Prevention. Mr. Donaldson, it's
Hi,
good
how
to
are
see
you?
you.
Good to see you guys. Yes, sir.
Thanks for being here. You want to introduce everybody for us?
Yeah, you guys want to go ahead?
And move that microphone however you need it.
Yeah, hello. Thank you for having us. My name is Zach Ellinger. I'm a fire prevention battalion chief for the U.S. Wildland Fire Service. And I normally live and work in Washington State, but I'm here on what we call a resource order serving the Lincoln National Forest.
Oh, welcome.
Jonathan Clannon, U.S. Forest Service, El Dorado National Forest out of California. By day, I'm a fire prevention officer, and here on the team, I'm a fire prevention education team member.
Oh, nice.
And by night? Batman, or what is it? I mean,
We'll save that discussion for later.
okay. Okay.
And I'm Sean Donaldson, representing the Lincoln National Forest, Smoky Bear Ranger District. I'm the Assistant Fire Management Officer here on the district. I was just gonna go over a little bit of what we have going on fuels-wise, preparedness-wise, answer any questions you guys have, and then let you guys let the prevention team talk about what they're doing here. So I'll kind of get into the fuel stuff. In the last year, we were only able to get about 15 acres burned because the indices we had, it wasn't right to burn, so we didn't burn. Coming up in the future, we have about 200 acres planned in the grindstone area to get burned. As far as thinning is going on right now, we have 125 acres in the grindstone area that we're thinning as we speak, and then about 25 acres out towards Capitan and the Core Dutton area. As far as preparedness goes right now, early March, we brought on all our engine crews, the hot shot crews. That's for Cloudcroft District as well, their hot shot crews. So we have 4 engines here right now. The hot shot crew is actually in Kentucky on some fires, but there's other hot shot crews in the region, shall we need them. We do have Alamogordo tanker base is open. We've had tankers in and out of there as needed. Roswell tanker base is open. We have 2 seats sitting there as we speak. And then all of our neighbors in the Pecos zone actually have quite a bit of engines in the Socorro district, the Roswell district, and then the Fish and Wildlife Service down by Roswell as well. So lots of resources floating around. Right now we're in high fire danger. And as you see us get into very high or extreme, once we get those indices that show us to go that route, then you're gonna see a lot more resources brought into town and be around and available. So right now we're sitting in our stage 1 fire restrictions, which is basically no campfires and no charcoal on the forest, which kind of coincides with your guys' stage 2, which is a little confusing for some people, but
Yeah.
that's why we got these guys, right?
Right.
As far as stuff going on in the zone, we've had about 9 fires in the last week. None on the Lincoln National Forest, mostly everything down on the Roswell district of the BLM. That's really what's going on around here. As far as the prevention stuff goes, since we've gone into stage 1 restrictions, we've only seen 1 unattended campfire, 1 illegal attended campfire, and 9 abandoned campfires, which is quite a bit less than what we normally see. So most people are listening.
Is this like at Bonita? Above
Benito
Bonita, most of
area is a lot of it, so we have a lot of patrols. We actually just brought in a patrol from the Payette National Forest up in Idaho to help us out on the weekends. So we do have 7-day staffing with our engines and 7-day staffing with our patrols right now. And we're extending on windy days, till about dark. So we have people out looking. And then our LEO, law enforcement officer, he's out at night and he's been writing a lot of tickets, and the tickets are pretty hefty, so. We're pushing pretty hard and really trying to get the word out. It's a lot of the reason these guys are down too, helping out, so just to get the word out. It tends to be a lot of the visitors, not so much local folks. But that's really what's kind of going on around here. as far as what we have on the district. I don't know if you guys had any questions about anything before I turned it over to the prevention team, but.
Mayor,
Yes, sir.
the fires you mentioned, what were the causes?
Most of them were man-caused, you know, stuff like, the railroad down there, welding.
Tires blown
Tires,
out, yeah.
vehicle accidents, chains dragging on trailers.
Yeah,
Okay.
No lightning fires from this, past lightning storm. We did have a detection flight the day after the lightning storm. We ordered a detection flight of both districts, actually all three districts, the Guadalupe district as well, and picked up no heat sources. And we're also doing a detection flight this afternoon. So generally, after lightning storms and things like that, we order a detection flight to try to detect things before we can even see them.
Thank you.
What about the satellite imagery or the cameras, you know, that have been stationed in Santa Fe? I was told that we're next. Have you heard anything about that?
I don't know where we're at with that. We do have the cameras that we can visually look at.
They pick up heat and
Yeah, they don't, well, the ones we have don't pick up heat, the one on Monjo and the one on Reducto
smoke.
Tower. But we do have a website called EGP, which is a public website, and you can go on there, and that's satellite imagery that picks up heat sources as well. So we're generally looking at that throughout the day, all the time, and we get warnings from it as well.
Okay. All right.
thanks,
Anybody else?
Sean.
No problem. Thank you, Sean.
Okay, I'll keep this brief, you guys. You guys have a robust agenda, so I just wanted to give you a glimpse of what we're doing and what we've accomplished so far and what we plan to accomplish. So National Fire Prevention Education teams are just like incident management teams. They're a national resource. The Lincoln had the foresight to order a prevention team early before you guys got into fire season, which is exactly what we want to do. And so I'm working directly under a delegation of authority for David Sosa, the fire staff officer for the Lincoln National Forest. Prevention teams can range anywhere from 4 people to 30 people. We have 12 people here working in this greater area, handing out materials such as these. I brought you some examples. We have 2 main messages. One is general fire prevention, and then the other is reiterating the stage 1 fire restrictions that the forest is in right now. So we've been here, we got here on April 6th, and we depart on next Tuesday, whatever day that is. I'm losing track. Today is day 10 for me, I believe.
21st.
21st, thank you so much, yes. We depart on the 21st, so 14 days, we will have mass saturated this area with this fire prevention information. And so here's what that looks like. Right now, we've distributed 10,126 pieces of information similar to this. We have other things. I just brought you a little tidbit of what we're handing out. We've done that with 1,887 people. Those are direct contacts, one-on-one interactions like we're having right now, at 245 places in this part of New Mexico. And we've driven to date 2,186 miles, my team has. So that covers Alamogordo, and I'm going to mispronounce names. I apologize. I'm not from here.
Hey, I'm with you.
Alamogordo, Telarusa, Muscalero, Cloudcroft, Ruidoso, Capitan, Mayhill, Weed, Pinion, Sunspot, Carlsbad, Queen, Lincoln, Arabella, Artesia, Las Cruces, Las Lunas, Las Luz, Carriza, Fort Stanton, High Rolls, Hondo, Hope, Mesilla, Tiburon, and White Sands National Park. Those are the places we've visited so far. Like I said, these people are out in your communities right now doing this work and spreading this information around. And then lastly, I just wanted to let you know that we have 2 30-second radio PSAs airing on streaming radio. So that's iHeartRadio, Pandora, Sirius XM, you know, all those streaming services that we all use, and Spotify. And to date, the Spotify account has had 70,000 people listen to it, or 70,000 impressions, I'm sorry, to 35,000 people. So some of the same people are getting repeated messaging. And the Audio Go campaign, which is the other streaming services, has had 35,000 impressions and reached 34,000 people. So a combined total of around 70 to 75,000 people are being reached by this Audio Go campaign. And I heard mention of a lot of our fires aren't from here, right? That we hear that everywhere we go, but I believe it is true here that visitors start a lot of fires. So this campaign is being broadcast not only in New Mexico, Arizona, but also in Texas.
Yeah.
So that's what I've got for you, and if you have any questions, I'm happy to answer them.
Where's this Sosa located? Where's his office?
Alamogordo.
Alamogordo.
Yeah, he's our fire staff officer, so he's in charge of everything fire on the whole forest.
Okay.
Yeah, and so that's where our base of operations is. I have my deputy sitting there right now and my public information officer. And then my operations section chief, John, has been handling our field operations and coordinating these people's activities on a
Okay.
daily basis.
Do we have any information? I've been hearing about work that's being done on the National Forest, cross-hatching, things of that nature. Do you guys know anything about any of that?
I have a little bit of information. I know that in the coming months, they're doing about 450 acres of disaster recovery. I couldn't tell you exact projects. I deal mostly with the fire side of things, but we can get you that information for sure.
Yeah, I'd like to hear that because I know they were talking about cross-hatching just to help with the flood mitigation and picking up sediment and all that. And I know the forestry, the USFS is one that paid for the WUI to the state, the WUI boundary that we're doing the thinning process on, picking up a lot of that. That's a lot of those issues that we're dealing with now. And so when you were talking about burning, so right now behind Grindstone, you're thinning, piling, and then we'll,
Yeah, most of that will be thinning, piling, and then some broadcast burning. I mean, as we sit right now, that's one of our, kind of last spots that we could have a problem fire really kind of come into the community. So we're concentrating really hard on that area and trying to get a lot of work done in there. So
Yeah.
you'll probably see the burning start up on top of the mesa because we did the top-down approach. You don't want to start from the bottom, of course. So you'll start seeing that, with Caleb Finch, our new fuels FMO. He's really pushing hard to get some stuff done over there. So we have guys out actually working over there today. And as you see these extra resources come in throughout the summer, they don't just sit around and wait for fires. We actually put them to work out there doing thinning and things like that while we're waiting for fires.
well, Sean, can you tell me, have you guys talked to anybody with Ironman or Xterra? We're using a lot of those trails there.
Yeah. I don't know. I know that it's still on. I know everything's ongoing with that. I haven't talked to the recreation department about exact.
I just would hate to have a burn day on the day that
Oh,
we're.
no.
Welcome to Ruidoso, New Mexico, because we're gonna have all over the world there televising it.
No, we have talked about that.
Okay, so we're good?
Yeah, we won't be burning during that
Okay,
time.
excellent. That's good. Well, you never know, we gotta ask these
Yeah.
questions.
I understand.
Yeah, okay.
Makes you run.
Anybody have any other questions?
We appreciate everything you're doing. Thank you very much.
Yeah, we love New Mexico. I personally find the people to be so welcoming and the culture very enriching, so we're glad to be here. And I'll just add that this same process will be repeated on 420 on the Gila National Forest, 5/6 on the Coconino, 520 on the Apache Sitgraves, and then on 6/6 both on the Santa Fe, Carson, and Cibola National
Cibola.
Forest.
Yeah.
Cibola, yes, thank you. So you're gonna hear more about prevention teams throughout the summer. We're really focused on trying to prevent every human-caused fire that we can.
Well, thank you for the presentation, and it was pretty entertaining, his pronunciation of some.
All of them were good. There was a couple that's
They're making fun of me, so I appreciate it, brother.
And
We're-
He said Rhea.
Yeah,
I tried.
And it's Messia.
but you're gonna be gone, so don't worry about it.
And you will see throughout the summer, after these guys leave, our prevention folks that we have on the forest will still be doing like Smoky Bear Days. We have a thing with the school in the mid-May where we go over and talk to the students, and they'll still be out patrolling and things. But these guys come in, help us beef up, help us do things a little bit better too, so it's great to have them.
Mayor, I have one
Yes,
question.
ma'am.
Shawn, and this, I know this probably is not in your area. What about the beautiful, like Sam Tobias campground? Are we going to reconstruct those?
Some of that stuff's gonna be reconstructed, some of it's gonna be repurposed. I do know that some of the disaster recovery is concentrating on the Cedar Creek area to try to get those trails back to what they were and
Right.
safe where trees can't fall. So that is one of the priorities because we do know a lot of visitors come to use that stuff. So they really are working hard on trying to get that.
Okay, I was hoping.
Cool.
Yeah, I was hoping because those campgrounds,
Yeah,
I mean, that's where we have our class reunions every
Yeah.
year.
I understand.
And we appreciate you guys clearing the trail for the 5K run. The other day that we had out there was trees down across the trails, and you guys went out and cleared them out.
Anything you guys need or have questions with, just feel free to reach out to us and we can answer any questions you guys have or, visit with you all about whatever you need.
So, I know the last thing y'all ever want to do is close the forest. I know we always get close to that. And, so how far do you I know we talk to our fire chief all the time. How close are we getting to level this? And so to where you're, right now there's no open flames period, but at what point do you shut it down?
A month ago when we were hitting June-like conditions,
Yeah.
that was in the foreseeable future. But right now with the spring-like conditions and having the little bouts of rain we're getting, staying in high and stage 1 is where we're focused at now. We're watching the indices, and as we get closer, into mid-May, things like that, we could get into stage 2. And stage 3 would actually be closure. So we're nowhere close to that right now. If we keep getting these bouts of moisture and these cooler temps and not as heavy of a wind season as normal, we'll probably stay where we're at. So I don't see it in the foreseeable future.
Okay, do we do any cone collection here? Y'all know anything about that?
We do cone collection for seedlings and stuff. I don't have a lot of information on that, but I do know that it does take place here and on the Cloudcroft District.
Okay.
And what is that?
They collect the cones and then the pine cones?
Oh,
They take the seeds and
Yes.
For the layman,
absolutely.
pine cone.
thank you.
And then they'll plant them and get seedlings, and then this is where we get a lot of the
Oh, okay,
replanting.
yeah.
So
okay.
I know there was a shortage of seedlings, and I just didn't know there's a proper time to collect cones. I don't even know when that is.
Yeah, and I could get you some more info on that, but yeah, we do collect from the actual forest, so the saplings that we plant are from here and not from
Right,
somewhere else, so
right.
they're the same trees.
Yeah.
Okay, are you still seeing a lot of beetle kills in different areas? Big beetle kills?
We're seeing more drought than anything.
Yeah.
And our pine and our pinyon juniper out in some of the Capitan areas and Church Mountain out that way, we're having a lot of drought stricken stuff out that way.
And
So
dwarf mistletoe is still coming on?
it comes on as the drought comes on. The worse the drought gets, the worse the mistletoe gets. So that's
Okay.
what we're out trying to thin and take care of, so.
Okay. Anybody else?
Thank you
Okay,
so much.
thank you, gentlemen,
Thank you, guys.
appreciate it.
No problem.
So Mayor, your pronunciation challenges are up next.
Okay. Where was I going? Oh, promotions and transfers?
New employees.
Yeah. So who else do we have? We got Chavez and Lincoln County Boys and Girls Club. And then when we're talking about water harvesting, I don't see, Marty's on, but I don't see Mr.,
You could not come.
well, he was there last night. Okay, so we'll go into a fun part of the presentation of new employees, promotions, and transfers. And so we have new hires. Jessica Janopoulos. Where's Jessica? She went home sick. Oh, she did? Okay. What was it, the luncheon?
No, the bank lunch yesterday.
Oh, I went, okay. Just making, that's her husband over there, the deputy chief. She's in planning and zoning administration, so hopefully she gets to feel better. Tristan Baca, Parks Maintenance Tech.
Oh, yeah.
Tristan, glad to have you. Where are you from, Tristan? Where are you from? Oh, you from here? All right, good to have you.
Excellent.
Roderick Kimbrell, purchasing clerk.
Yay.
Hello, Roderick. Same question.
Born and raised here.
Excellent. Okay, awesome. Cheyenne Marufo, she's a emergency management intern, and she's been getting, I don't see her. Okay, we had a training yesterday. The emergency management did a great job. All the staff was there getting cross-trained, and it went off very, very well. So now then, talk about pronunciation, you're right. Heath Dobrovoloni, Deputy Village Manager. Was I even close?
He's getting closer, huh?
Get closer. Dobrovoloni. So this is Heath. He's our deputy manager. He was formerly with DHSEM and has been a county commissioner manager before, floodplain manager for the state of New Mexico. So he understands what we're going through, so we're very fortunate. A lot of the interviewees, I'll tell him now, it wasn't that difficult, because the other guys, when we told them all the different things that we had, they said after 5 p.m. and on the weekends, they'd be available by their iPad. And so that doesn't work. You have to be in the field, you have to be working with the teams, and so we appreciate it. He knows what he's getting into, and he's very well trained for that. So we're glad to have you.
We sure are.
And hopefully it'll be smooth. Promotions, and this is a good one. She's come along pretty quick, and she's gotten really bossy over the last, when did she get promoted, Ron? 2 days ago, and it's already showing. Woo. Madison Schlotfeld, Assistant Finance Director. Wave. There you go. And Robin Parks, Finance Specialist.
Yay.
Robin. And also these guys, it's real important when we were doing our exercises on emergency management. We're going to talk about our audit in a minute, and to be able to get these good audits that we have, these folks are a big part of that, keeping track of all the information. When we go into emergency stance and they get called out to the EOC, they have very specific jobs. So we really appreciate you guys, and it's always nice when we get promoted from within. All right, Department of the Quarter. There he is in the back corner, the one, the only, and this guy does a great job.
He does.
Greg, and come on down, Greg, because you get to take the bear home. Hey. So Greg runs a radio station, and he's taken, basically, this was something that we got from the Hubbard organization when they were divesting, and so we kind of got some pieces and put the things together with 1490 now. Because we have 99.1.
Yeah, and it's
we
great.
do streaming, and so we're building a network and a lot of information that's key when we have information. So you do a good job. You keep us all moving, and now we've got quite a few shows with Rudos's Finest, of course, Monday with the mayor. We love the museum pieces that Stephanie puts on, and you've got several other shows, Chamber Chat and whatnot.
Got a new art show.
And the new art show. So we appreciate everything that you do. But Greg Widener, so you're going to put this, I don't know where you're going to put it.
Put him on my table.
You'll put it on the table. But congratulations, well deserved.
And he keeps you going.
Yeah, he does. I'm looking for it right here. Radio, it just says radio. Two birds sitting on the telephone pole, one falls off, says radio. Yeah, that's an unfunny joke. Okay, employees of the quarter. Administration, Taylor Schralick, HR Specialist. Yay. Thank you very much. Thank you, Taylor. We appreciate it. Get a picture right here. How long have you been here?
Since August.
Since August. So you're moving pretty quick.
Yes, sir.
So do you like your job? You can tell everybody. Really
I love it.
Do you really? Glad. Thank you. You do a great job. Community Services, Adam Hutton, Parks and Rec.
Thank you.
Thank you, Adam. We appreciate everything that you've done, all the hard work that you do. You guys got a big summer coming up.
Thank you, sir.
Got it? Thank you very much.
Congratulations.
Public Safety, I don't see him here. There he comes. There he is. All right. Patrick Randolph. You're just checking with everybody.
Congratulations.
Congratulations. You bet. And I always love the story. I bought a brand new truck. It was a brand new cop. You remember this? You pull me over?
It's fuzzy.
Yeah, it's fuzzy. Because my light on my license plate wasn't showing bright enough. And so that was always a fun thing. And so I always remember that. You know, when I'm always moving off, we'll always have that. So anyway, congratulations. Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Street Department, Lisa Sanchez.
There she is.
How long you been with us, Lisa?
27 years in
27.
October.
Yay!
Thank you very much. Hopefully you can be here for a while longer.
Oops, and I think I knocked.
It happens. It happens. Good job.
Thank you very much. Appreciate you. Anyway, that's what really makes us tick is our employees doing all the wonderful things. So thank you guys for all your hard work. Okay, and I want to get to, we'll wait on, I guess we'll go ahead and do the village manager's report so we can go ahead and get an update from the Boys and Girls Club.
All right, Mayor and Council, first we're going to have from the Boys and Girls Club of Chavez County and Lincoln County, Rick Lamb. Welcome, Rick. He's going to provide us an update of the organization and here in Ruidoso. He also has a PowerPoint presentation, so.
Mayor, councilors, thank you guys so much for having me today. So I just want to give you guys kind of an update over the last 6 months of really what's been going on. So STEM has always been a really big part of the club. Literacy is always popular as well, but STEM is something that we really focus on because it hits a lot of different areas. Clever Crazes is a game that we found a couple years ago, and the nice part about it is it's literally a game, but they're learning something through the whole process. And through this, it's a nonprofit. Through them, we have had kids win just $10 gift cards. We've had sweatshirts won. We've had backpacks won, tennis shoes won, just by sitting down and learning new things. And they compete with kids all over the country for point levels. And there have been a lot of points that these kids have gotten over the last couple of years. And it's a really cool process for them. They learn different things. You'll see one kid is doing push-ups there, so there's physical activity as well. But it helps them to engage in an activity and be able to enjoy it in the process. Continuing with STEM, they built their own catapults. They put them together and then they shot them at the cups to try and knock them down. Some hit the cups, some hit the walls, but more than anything, the kids had a lot of fun and they learned the process of what it takes to be able to have that catapult come down and then actually pop up, and the speed, the trajectory, all of those things that ultimately go into being able to do those sorts of things. From here, this was a pretty popular project. This one here was learning what happens. I mean, I'm sure all of you guys have done it, left a water bottle sitting in your car, and then you open it up and all of a sudden it freezes. This is that process. And they went through that whole process. They learned what it takes, why that cold air when it hits it when you open it up, how that really affects the water and stuff. And so we want to try and teach them these different aspects. STEM, like I said, is very, very big for us because we want them to explore every aspect of the world that is becoming more and more popular as they continue to grow up. From here, so this is more of a kind of a light refraction one. They took science paper, it's called Rainbow Paper Experiment. And so what they did is they cut it into shapes, they dipped it into different solutions, and those different solutions created different refractions. It created different, they looked differently across the board, and it allowed these kids once again to see what's going to happen when you take different objects and you put them together, and how that affects lighting, how that's going to affect the way that you can view it just ultimately across the board. This one was probably the most famous STEM project that these kids did, mainly because they got to eat it all afterwards. They took Skittles and they put them around the edge of plates, and then they put water on them. And it just really shows water movement and how even, you can see in some of these pictures how those colors are still staying within those same colors in those same areas. And so it helps them to create colors, create shapes, and see how these projects really work together and how these colors can ultimately interact without always mixing together. This was our fire prevention. And we weren't really simple with this, but I think it hit home pretty well. What we did was we took toothpicks and we took marshmallows, and we had them build their own kind of little complex. And then we set it on fire. And we showed them how quickly that catches on fire and how quickly it spreads through the whole process. We wanted them to really get a good understanding of when a fire happens, how fast it moves, so that they understand why it's so important that we are safe with fire, and that we are taking care of the stuff that we have around us. Everybody loves food. And so cooking classes are always a fun project that we have. Right here, they are learning how to just make salsa. This one's always a fun one because then you get to have chips and stuff afterwards. But they are learning how to actually cut the vegetables, putting it into a blender, mixing it, understanding that, if you put so many jalapenos in, it's going to be so hot, and vice versa. So they're learning how that science works with cooking and how they ultimately can, continue to grow in that area as they get older. Green eggs and ham. This was one of my favorite projects to just watch. So when Dr. Seuss had his week, we celebrated it. And so, of course, you can see all the lovely Dr. Seuss, Cat in the Hat skewers that they made. And then the green eggs and ham was probably the most interesting way that they did it. They took green pudding, they took a vanilla wafer for your green egg, and then for the ham, they took a fruit roll-up, and they rolled it out and they cut it, so now you have your green eggs and ham. So not only are you getting the concept of green eggs and ham, but then you get a really cool sweet treat right afterwards. From here, they are learning how to make ice cream. This still goes back to science, but this is kind of the fun part of science. Putting it in a bag and how to make it in a bag. You don't always have to go to the store and buy it out of a box. It's still delicious, but this is really kind of a fun project to be able to do at home and do it with your family. And those are things that we want to really incorporate, is giving these kids the ability to go home and spend time with their family and do fun projects like this. And then they also made biscuits and butter. They made homemade butter in jars. They used mason jars, and the kids are shaking them like crazy to try and get that butter to get created. And then, of course, they got to eat the butter and the biscuits all together that way, too. So once again, another just kind of fun project to be able to take home, spend some time with their family, and be able to make these sorts of things and create that family time that, we really want to have. Holidays are always fun. So here is Halloween, playing some different games that they had. Candy is always involved. Some of the kids dressed up and everything while they came as well. So just really, take a breath, take time away from, all the different learning programs that we're doing. Because, we do a lot of STEM stuff, but we do a lot of sit down and just kind of help them learn a bunch of different things, from emotional regulation to, how to deal with bullies, why it's important to make sure that you are clean and you're taking a shower and you're brushing your teeth and how that affects your body. We want to give them time to just be a kid and have some fun. And so this is one of those parties for Halloween. Right here, while people are voting for our cities and our villages and our states and our U.S. government and everything, we take a minute to show the kids what that looks like. They get their own little card, they draw their picture on it, they put their name, and they actually sit down and they vote for their class president or their group president. That gives them an idea of why this is important. And what it entails and what it means to take time out of your day to real quickly go and take a moment and really reflect on who do we want running our government, And who do we want really kind of just overseeing all the aspects of day-to-day life that happen around us? And so this is something that's actually been going on for a couple years now. It has become a fun project for the kids, and they do really enjoy just getting to sit there and pick who their class president is going to be each year.
That's pretty cute.
For Thanksgiving, we made turkey hats, and then, of course, you know, you got to paint the hand, you've got to do the turkey handprint and everything. Those are classic fun ones, you know, that we still, of course, continue to do, and it's just a fun time for the kids just in general. Around Christmas time, we made gingerbread houses. And then, of course, they ate gingerbread houses. You know, but what they do is they take a milk carton and they build it up around it so they have a basic idea of a frame and then learn how to build. So, you know, one, you're learning structure, you're learning how to, you know, just architect in general. And then, of course, you got a nice sweet treat to eat afterwards. A lot of them probably took it home and ate them with their family too, so. They also made Christmas ornaments. At the bottom, you can see they're kind of stirring the dough. They made, you know, solid dough Christmas ornaments and painted them. Stuff to take home, stuff to give their parents for Christmas. Just another way to really just bring family closer together as best as we possibly can. I know there's more. Is that the last? Oh, there we go. Oh, okay. From here, they're making homemade snowflakes, you know, using cotton swabs, basically turning simple materials into unique designs. The greatest thing about a snowflake is none of them are ever the exact same. And so you get to see a lot of really cool ideas that come out of these when these kids sit down and really put their ideas to paper. This year for Valentine's Day, it was a focus on love and you know, and loving who you are, loving the people around you, and understanding that, you know, hate doesn't really change anything. You know, so being able to truly just show that caring side, you don't have to agree with everybody. That's never the whole concept. That was never, you know, something that had to be done, but to appreciate that person for who they are, we want these kids to understand this at a young age. Maybe. There we go. They also made pillows. This has been going on for a couple years now. The kids cut their shapes, they cut it, and they put you know, some fluff on the inside, and they tied them together, so now they got their own personal little pillow that they can take home and spend time with their family, put on their bed, or however they want to be able to do that. But it really adds to that creative side of them. You know, they get to pick their colors. They get to, you know, they're the ones that actually do all the tying. Even the younger kids, kindergarten and first grade, they're the ones actually tying those ends together. So they're learning some basic motor skills along the way as well. For President's Day, the kids made their own president's hats, you know, and had a little party and everything too. But just, you know, really, really acknowledging the day as a whole and all the different presidents that we have had through this country. This has become a yearly project as well. The kids are learning what it's like to be on a farm, specifically with sheep and with cows. And so there is, for the sheep, there is shaving cream, and they're learning how to shear the sheep. And then for the cows, they learn how to milk a cow. They've got some like plastic gloves underneath there, and they learn how to actually pull down and let the milk come down. So it's a fun project for them to see what agriculture does and what, you know, our farms, you know, around us are ultimately doing, and how we get some of those things, whether it's our clothes, our milk, our cheese, those sorts of things around us. For spring, they started spring off by making hand lilies. And so they went through and they drew their hands, and they wrapped them up and then curled them, and they had their own little bouquets that they got to take home. And then last but not least, you know, this is something we've been looking at for a while, but we did, a grant also helped kind of push us a little bit as well, is having family nights. Giving time for families to be able to come. This one here, what they did was they planted seeds. We had the dirt, we had the seeds, we had popcorn, we had games there, and those seeds they could either take home and plant in their own garden, or we've got a garden that we start for the summertime for the club, where the kids can actually plant them there. That's all I have for this. The only other thing I had really fast, I know a lot of the counselors got it out, but I really wanted to make sure that this was mentioned, is the week of May 18th, we're closing down for the whole week. And this wasn't something that was taken very lightly, but we were given an opportunity to do some things for training-wise that we wanted to make sure that we actually were able to do. And so we're doing two very big trainings besides just our normal slot of trainings that we usually do at the end of summer or at the end of the school year. So the first one is called the Ripple Effect. And what this one is this designed to promote social and emotional skills. So it's there to help the staff members teach the kids how to create those social emotional skills. There's a lot of material that goes with it, and there's a lot of courses that go with it. This is actually a 2-day training, and this one's a pretty long one for us. But the biggest part to this that really attracted me to it for the staff was this is going to teach the staff what it looks like when trauma hits across the board. So it's not just this child has gone through a traumatic situation, but now it's going to look at how does it affect the family? And ultimately, how could it affect the community? And by going through this process, the staff is more equipped to be able to actually help the kids work through these struggles that they are having. The second training that we're doing is going to be on that Wednesday. This is a PAX training, and this is really a youth development training for our staff, once again, to help these kids. These are small pieces that we can continuously work throughout the day with these kids, and it's trauma-informed, science-based behavioral strategies. I had to have this all up here because there's a lot of words that I wasn't going to remember. But it's made so that we can work with these kids. What do we do if we start noticing a kid that has trauma in their life? We go through all this trauma training. In 4 years that I've been with this organization, we hit a point where we start seeing trauma happening with kids and what it looks like, trauma that happens with the families. Now we really need to know how we can help them across the board. And so these two trainings really are going to allow us to do that. And then, of course, Thursday and Friday is just our normal schedules that we usually do at the end of the school year. We've got our annual trainings that we have to get done to make sure that the staff is prepared for the summer. And then, just, of course, just making sure that the club is ultimately ready and stuff as well. So it wasn't something that we lightly took into consideration. We understand, just like it's brought up quite often, and not in a bad way. I very much appreciate all the stuff that you guys give us, but we really felt like sitting down and doing these trainings is going to help us in the long run to really help this community and help these kids be as successful as possible. And I stand for questions.
Anybody have any questions?
Thank you.
That was some great information.
What about your staff? How's that? Are you full up on staff?
We are working on that. But the nice thing is last year we averaged about 30 kids. With state licensing, we've actually bumped that up. We are in the process of having 45 kids this summer, which is a huge blessing. Our goal is even this next school year, I do want to sit down with the school itself. We know that there's only so much that we can really do at the club. And so I'm going to start looking into the school, and especially the middle school, and seeing how we can impact the middle schoolers right there in the middle school, and being open there. And so we're still held to the same regulations. We've got a nice out-of-school time grant that keeps coming up. And so that'll help cover those costs so that parents aren't having to worry about any of that. Staff is just kind of a back and forth, but I really have a lot of confidence in the management team that's over there. He's doing a really good job of getting the staff trained properly. And then these training, I think, are going to just kind of add to that a little bit more. And we're figuring out some new incentives to hopefully keep them around a little bit longer too.
What about emergency training? Have we been in contact with you with our emergency manager on flooding and, having a plan?
I have not heard anything. Have you guys reached out to the club? Okay, so we'll definitely get something taken care of. I always want to make sure that it's understood, though. the staff is there until all the kids are gone. So, and last year and the year before, staff was still there until 6 to 8 o'clock at night until those waters came down and they were officially able to, go home. So the staff is always under the understanding that, look, they're going to get taken care of no matter what. We're going to make sure that the kids are taken care of. We know that the parents start to freak out. We send out those messages because we want them to get to us as quickly as possible. But we also understand that, look, at the end of the day, if you don't make it and you let us know, hey, like this is going on, we're there no matter what. We're still going to be there. We're still going to take care of your kids. They are still safe in that building. And it's been a blessing. The last couple of years, we have not been touched by the fire and we have not been touched by the floods. And so that is still a safe zone for those
Well, we're
kids.
glad because that's where Emergency Operations Center's at. So, yeah, we're tickled about that ourselves.
That's a plus.
Yeah, so we just want to make sure we're providing training to your staff in numbers and to also the children, the kids, they know,
Definitely.
understand what's going on, so.
Yeah, and we've got crisis management policies to run through that. After the first fire and flood, we did do a big update on fires and floods and make sure that there was a clear understanding with that as well. But please, any training we can get to help everybody out, I would truly appreciate. Thank you.
Okay, all right. Anybody else have anything?
Thanks, Rick.
Yeah, Corey.
Thank you, Rick. Appreciate it. Okay, Ron, do you have something on the manager's report?
Next, we have Mr. Marty Howe with Sauter Miller Associates. It's going to be a presentation of water conservation and rain harvesting. Do you want to pin him on the?
And this was brought up because we had over the years, this question asked over and over about the village pushing new commercial properties to have rain harvesting, off the roof, to push it in residential areas and things like that. And so we just kept asking, and so are you flying or driving, Marty?
I'm driving in El Paso, so it's a pretty slow process right now.
Okay.
So Marty, are you going to provide the presentation?
Actually, Allison is going to cover it, and,
Okay.
and Ron and Mr. Mayor, what we're going to do is start with the water conservation plan and kind of cover some of the things that we're learning as we're going through the process of developing your plan, including what some of the metrics are now, what some of the goals are, and then what some of the tools are that you can use to hit those goals, one of which would include rainwater harvesting.
Okay.
And Allison Mazan is with us. How long have you been with us now, Allison? Like 2 years?
Almost 2 years, yeah.
All right. And she is a rock star. She's good at this stuff. So.
Oh my God, I totally am a rock star.
Thank you, Allison.
All right, so thanks, Marty. My name is Allison. I work with lots of planning within Sauter Miller, and I'm working on the village's water conservation plan. And I've been working really closely with Jacqueline Pena, who's been wonderful to work with. And I'm going to attempt to share my screen. Let's see if this works. Okay. Share. Okay. Can y'all see my screen?
Yes.
Fantastic. Yay, I love when stuff works. This is great. Okay, so there we go. All right, so as we have moved through this process of getting all the data that we need for your water conservation plan, and it is a lot, I've put this data on a graph to kind of explain where we've been through the last couple of years and where we are as of 2025. The gallons per capita day calculation in 2025 was about 100 gallons per person per day. As you can see, the water use per capita has been steadily increasing since 2022. And we've also tracked the water loss percentage. In 2025, it was about 25%, which is actually a significant improvement over the past couple of years. So you guys are doing great.
Is that leakage?
So the first half of the water conservation plan is where are we, how much water are we using, what are our water losses? That's the kind of data numbers portion of the report. The second part of the report is, okay, you know, we know that we live in a desert. We know that water is a scarce resource. What goals can we make for ourselves that will assist in water conservation? And then what are called the best management practices for meeting those goals? And I've listed kind of some potential goals that we could choose and some practices that we could choose. Nothing is set in stone yet, but this is kind of like where we start. Potential goals. An easy one is to say we're going to reduce the gallons per capita day, or we're going to.
Oh, and can you go in there and point out what we're doing with that? We've been replacing water lines and the geo bond and all of those things, and like on your outdoor savings program, what is that?
So these, maybe Marty can talk about a little bit more of what exactly the village has been doing. I mean, right now, these are kind of just potential goals. I mean, I know, and you can see it from how the water losses has decreased in 2025. You guys have programs and it is working and you are making progress on these. So.
Also, I'll jump in.
Yeah, please.
Okay. So, Mr. Mayor, I'll back up just a little bit. When we're talking about the water conservation, there's kind of two parts of it. One, the gallons per capita per day is a measure of how much your customers are using. And that's a dial that we can turn. And then the other one is a measure, the water loss is kind of measure overall of how much are you losing, whether through leakage or even maybe not billing for everything that you're producing and giving people. So that would be what you're losing, or as a water utility, it's kind of an internal metric. And the village has a pretty robust water conservation plan. So you've barred outdoor watering, and you've got a good rate structure that makes it so that when people use more water, they pay for more. Those are really the two top measures by which you can get people to use less water, is you make them pay for it and you measure it. And then you also make it hard to water outside. So those are the reason that you can see the reduction that Allison mentioned in the water. Well, the reason that your gallons per capita per day aren't much higher than what they are. 100 is actually fairly low per household per person. And then the other, like you mentioned, Ron's team is being very aggressive in going out and fixing leaks, and then also in doing a better job of managing the pressure zones, and also in replacing sections of the system that are just old and falling apart. And that's why that water loss number, the blue number at the end there, we're starting to see go down. So those are the things that you have been doing. And then Allison has a menu on you for you on the next page of things that we could put as continuing goals for the plan for the future.
Okay, thank you.
Right. And as we continue to develop the plan, we'll meet further with the village to say, okay, well, what goals do we want? You know, what practices do we feel are working? What practices do we feel we can implement? Which practices do we think are not working? So it's a future meeting with the village. I just wanted to give kind of a overview of what we might.
Well, basically what I'm wanting to do, everybody sitting up here is real familiar, but it's the public. I'm wanting them to understand that we have reduced total gallons. We have outdoor savings program. There's no watering. You know, we're still at the level of water usage. We have reduced it, that our citizens are not water wasters. 100 gallons per person is really small compared to a lot of the other communities.
One look at the door, sir.
What?
Right there.
Yeah, doesn't say very well. Sorry.
Okay. And the non-revenue water is what we call water leakage, and we've had some, and then during the fires and floods, you know, we lost a lot of water, but we didn't lose it all, and we were able to save it. The annual cost and apparent, you know, every time we pump in a gallon of water treating it, it's expensive. Leak detection programs, we've had that employed for years, But I think what we're finding out, and I keep looking at Adam because he actually worked with these guys, I don't think they can hear the water leaking, because they have a sound system. That's the guys with the headphones. I think we need to look at other technology if there is some, because I guess the water lines are deep enough they can't hear it or whatever, because that's what they're doing is listening for leaks. So you can stop me at any time, Jackie.
And Mayor and Council also, we did the replacement of the water meters. We have the Badger with the endpoints on them, and it's on a 24-hour period. If we find a high usage, we contact that property owner. We shut it off. If there's a second homeowner, we contact them immediately, and that saves a lot of water. Before, it was every 30 days, so they had a leak going on for 30 days before we even found it at their home, so.
Could you elaborate on the water loss? You said it, I think that slide indicated 25%. You said that's been an improvement. That number still is unsettling.
So, Councilor Corey, I think I can jump in here. And
Thank you, Councilor Sanchez.
So we were actually above 50% non-revenue water. It's not so much water loss. So that non-revenue water goes against, if we give leak credit to the residents, fires, of course leaks, that's a big part. Backwashing at our plants, we have to take into account every little, thing that we do not bill for as far as is water loss. So we're above 50% in 2023 to 2024, in those areas. And 2025, this 25% is, I'm shocked. It's awesome, I think, because when we went through the whole water audit process with a third party, they were saying that you'll never get to zero. 14 is
top
notch. So at 25, I think we're.
So, Counselor, you're saying it was over 50%?
Yes, sir, it was.
Okay, thank you.
So I have a question. So with that, on the opposite side, why I wanted to hear this is because we do have residents and people in the community in Lincoln County that want us to harvest the water, like off of our buildings, that kind of stuff. And I was told that goes against our
Water compact with the
Yes,
state,
yeah.
Texas.
And so I just wanted this known for us to have this discussion so that people understand. It may seem like a great thing to do, but maybe for Ridoso, this isn't the best thing to do.
In doing more research about the rain harvesting, I did find out that for residential areas, we can harvest water according to a New Mexico Office of State Engineer. So we don't need a permit or approval from OSC. You can harvest rainwater catch the water that's coming from your property. And
That's residents.
That's residents only.
What about the village of Ridoso, all of our buildings?
Well, for commercial, that's a different story. You cannot just do that without a permit or approval from New Mexico Office of State Engineer. You'd have to talk to them and then get their approval and see if they allow you to harvest the water.
So, from a conservation standpoint, Ron, we could build into the building code for new construction rainwater harvesting.
Yeah, and add cost to the, to the already high cost to build.
Mayor Crawford, Councilor Corey, yes, it can be added on there if that's what we want to do in the
Mayor, you're
ordinance.
worried about the economics?
Yeah, it's so expensive to build homes right now. We're doing a lot of rebuilds, and we're at $300, $400 a square foot on rebuild. So we're looking at a lot of modulars that we're getting down to, the $180 square foot. But any more that we put on people, I mean, they can do it voluntarily now with the rain barrels and put those in, there's no issue. But to make them do it, I don't know.
Increasing rainwater harvesting, it will also be included as a goal for, in the village's upcoming water conservation plan that SMA is working on right now. So it'll be included in there as a goal, not
For the
a-
public.
For the public, yeah.
But again, if we were to say, the magistrate court gets brought up all the time, because that's the newest thing, if we were to have said, you have to have water harvesting on there, by whatever ordinance or thing that we enacted, it has to get approved by the state engineer to start with, and you have to do that on each individual property.
For residents, no, they don't need a
Right,
permit.
I'm saying for
For
a
public,
public or
yes.
commercial building.
Yes.
Each individual, you just couldn't say, hey, we want to do that in Village of Ruidoso, and they say, okay, blanket. Nope, it'd be each individual one.
Yes.
So we could do it, we just have to ask the state if we can do this.
Yes, you can do it for commercial, you just need permission from the state, but residents, you can do it without a permit.
Okay.
And it can probably go like everything else that we get out of OSE. It starts with the letter N and ends with the letter O. No, we do that all the time. Just so you know, we protect all the Village of Ruidoso's water rights that the village is paid for, and we still get sued by Gary Mitchell, and there's some other ones in the valley that use him to block us at every turn on everything that we do with our own water rights. And so I can imagine how commercial would go on this. It doesn't mean we can't try if that's the wish of the council.
Yeah, and the other thing is that rain harvesting doesn't mean that we're holding the water. It just means it's it's just delayed, because eventually it's going to be used to water
It's going to get back
something,
into the
So it's
watershed.
going to be used, so eventually it's going to go back into the soil. It's just going to take a while by the time they use it. But we're not holding the water, so eventually it's just going to go into the groundwater again. And another thing that I think the public should also know is that we do share our water with Hondo and stuff, but we are also in two different aquifers. So when the water goes underground, it still doesn't go to Hondo because it's two different aquifers. So we are on they call it the Yeso Formation in San Andres Limestone. So we are at a higher elevation and they're at a lower elevation. And the Ruidoso Fault Zone, it's what breaks it or separates it. So when the water does go into the ground, it still doesn't touch their aquifer anyway.
Where does it go?
It goes into our aquifer. So we use it.
Well, it goes somewhere.
Yeah.
Because we've been to court over it 100 times, and, our water rights prevail, but what they're saying is when the river runs low through our town, and then it gets down in the Hondo Valley, that there is no water, it's because we've taken their water. And so you're saying that that's the first time I've heard that.
Yeah.
That it goes into a different aquifer, because I know we're all in the same watershed.
Yeah, we're in the
Rio
same.
Ruidoso and the Eagle Creek and Cedar Creek.
Yeah, we all have the same surface water, but groundwater is where it differs, because and even Roger Peary has also mentioned it. And then I did some research, and it does, groundwater is where we both have different aquifers, so we're not tapping into their water when we're using our wells or groundwater. But the surface water, we do share that because it's surface water that's like the Rio Ruidoso and Carrizo Creek that merges into the river. But when it goes into the ground, it's different.
So that's why we have to watch our diversion to, on.
Well, we
ground
watch it because we're only allowed so many acre
Right.
feet when it's below,
But that's surface water.
that's surface
not
water.
underground
Yeah, but
water.
when we pump, we're metered.
Yes.
And so all of that meter goes to our water accounting, which is just like our checkbook for water.
Yes.
So Counselor Letterman, you asked that this be discussed. Are you getting the answers you were looking for?
Basically, I thought it was a no. But, so this is interesting.
And they also have some additional, but going back what to the mayor said, even if it's groundwater, we can't even move a well and, drill it, cap it, drill 100 feet away, we're allowed, and we still get protested on it,
Yeah,
so.
it's the truth.
So are there specific questions are there other specific questions that we can answer regarding rainwater harvesting? The OSC does support rainwater harvesting for residential streets or for residential properties. As you get into sort of bigger projects, commercial, municipal, yes, they are absolutely going to want to look at your plan, make sure that you're keeping all the water that falls onto that property, and you're not doing anything weird, like pumping it into a different property or something. Because, they want to make sure that water appropriation is fair. So as we get into the larger rainwater harvesting projects, yes, an OSC permit will be required.
Ron, can we get a copy of this
I
PowerPoint?
know, that's what I would like to.
Yes, we can get a copy. I think Yvonne already has a copy.
I'm sorry, I don't have a copy,
Okay.
but Levi was asking them to send it to me, and once I get it, I'll make sure everybody has it.
I appreciate it.
Perfect, thank you.
So right now, residents can get their rain barrels, do whatever they want. But, we were talking about runoff, stormwater, that you can detain it too. But, in some of the areas that we're talking about at the Y or at the High T, they were looking at building underground storage to catch up to 1 million gallons and then it run into another 1 million gallons. And eventually, it would all end back into the river column because people are harvesting rain, they're not going to be drinking it. They're going to be watering their yard or their plants or whatever, so it's evaporation. A lot of this is running right back into the water column. So it is a little different. So that's why we were told in the past the answer was no. So, but the answer is yes for residential.
Yes.
Okay.
Well, and Jacqueline, it might be worthwhile to find out what the issue is for government entities. Is it a yes or a no?
Like for OSC, or what do you mean?
For us, for like if the village wanted to harvest rainwater on our facilities,
We would need a permit from the OSC.
so there's not an exception for
No.
government entities?
No, if it doesn't matter what, if it's public or commercial, like this building, we would need a permit from the OSC.
Okay.
And that's where we have to have a plan, and they have to
Yes.
look at it and okay it.
Yes, because they would have to see where the runoff goes, where the water goes, and all of that they would have to see, and then the OSC would determine if we are approved or not.
Jacqueline, is that by site, by individual site? So like for the village buildings,
Yes.
each individual building has to have its own permit?
Yes. Mhm.
Okay.
All right, Jackie, one other question. Have we looked into the ordinance, or our ordinance as far as capturing water?
I have, and our ordinance is a little vague, so it didn't really specify if we were able, it doesn't give you like a yes or a no. So that's why I did more research on this, but I think it would be something we could go back and then just make it more clear.
Thank you.
And that's also something that we can outline in the water conservation plan as well.
Is some recommended language that you might adopt for this and for other things.
Okay, anything else?
No, sir.
Okay, well, thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
Jackie.
And we have so we're going to have to take a temporary break to go into closed session. We have a 3 o'clock that we have to be on. So should make a motion, go ahead.
I'll make a motion to go into closed session for discussion of limits of personnel matters citing 1015-1 H2 and MSA 1978. Discussion subject to the attorney-client privilege pertaining to threatened or pending litigation in which the Village of Ruidoso is or may become a participant, citing 10-15-1H7 NMSA 1978. Discussion subject to attorney-client privilege regarding status of pending PFAS litigation. And discussion of the purchase, acquisition, and/or disposal of real property and/or water rights by the Village of Ruidoso, citing 10-15-1H8 NMSA 1978. Any action taken as a result of the closed session will be brought back into open session.
Second.
Any discussion? All right, we'll go into closed session.
Roll call.
Roll call.
Oh, roll call, please, ma'am.
Counselor Hooker?
Aye.
Counselor Letterman?
Aye.
Counselor Brophy?
Aye.
Counselor Corey?
Aye.
And Counselor Sanchez?
Okay, we'll be back.